The first phylum in non-chordates is phylum Porifera. Now the animals which are from the phylum Porifera, they have a very simple body and they are called as sponges. So in the ocean we see many sponges which are there. So these are all having the simple body and they are from the phylum that is Porifera. Now they have many small pores. If you will see here in this picture, you can find there are many pores which are present. Even when we will see in the microscope, we will find that there are many pores which are present. Now these pores are called as ostia and osculum. Now ostia is from where the water will enter and the osculum is from where the water will leave the organism's body. Now when the water is entering into the organism's body, that time the water, it contains many small organisms, many carbon dioxide and many gaseous substances that all are then taken in through the ostia, and whichever things are required that is taken in and which is not required that is then given out from the osculum. So we have two things, that is ostia and the osculum. Now these animals are always found on the bottom. They are always below because they can't swim, so that is why they are always attached to something and they are called as water dwellers. Why they are called as dwellers? Because they are found in the ocean and on the bed of the ocean. That is why they need something to attach themselves. So that is why they are called as water dwellers. Now also these organisms have a asymmetrical body. That is, they don't have a proper symmetry. That we have three types of symmetry like radial symmetry, bilateral symmetry. So they don't have these two symmetry. They have asymmetrical body. That means anyhow the body will be, they don't have any type of symmetry. Also, there are various special type of cells that is called as the collar cells. Now, this is the example of collar cells. Here you can find these small structures inside which is present. These are called as the collar cells. Now, these are flagellated cell. You can find these small lines which are present here. These are the flagella. So that is why this is called as flagellated cells, and they are like collar. So that is why we have given the name as collar cells. Now, they do not show any type of locomotion. They cannot move as they are always attached to the substratum. So they cannot move. So that is why there is no locomotion found there. And they are called as the sedentary animals. That is, they are fixed at one place. They cannot move much. Now also their body, now as they have a spongy body, they are like a sponge. So their body is supported by spicules, or you can say spongium. Now these are like small tiny fiber like structures which are present. Very sharp structures are there, spike like structures. So that is why they are called as spicules or sponges. So these are made up of calcium carbonate. Now as we know, inside the water usually as it is attached to a substratum, so it will be made up of calcium carbonate only. Now also one thing you have to remember, that whenever they have to reproduce, these type of organism, they reproduced asexually, and that is by different type of regeneration. Regeneration is, for example, one part is cut, so from that another part will grow. That is called as regeneration. From the same part new part is grown. So they reproduce sexually by regeneration, and some of them also reproduce sexually. Now the most common example of porifera is cycad and euplectella, or you can also say as euspongia, that is bath sponge. Now in earlier days bath sponge was used, and nowadays we don't use these things. Nowadays we use artificial stuff, but earlier the natural bath sponge was removed from the ocean, and the people used to use that for rubbing and other stuffs. So this is the king, that is phylum Porifera, which include all the sponges. Now what you have to remember, you need to remember at least 3 to 4 points from each phylum. So you can remember any point, it's up to you what you want to remember, but at least 3 to 4 points you have to do from each phylum. Next phylum, that is second phylum in non-chordate, is Coelenterata. Now here if you will see, there are many organisms which it includes hydra, it includes jellyfish, it also includes sea anemone. So these are organisms are included in Coelenterata. Now if you will see, they have a special structure. Some have a umbrella like structure and some have a cylindrical structure like in hydra. Here also you can see these are having cylindrical structure, but this is having a umbrella like structure, this is having an umbrella like structure, this is having umbrella like structure. So these umbrella like structure and the cylindrical structures these organisms have, and according to their structure, if it is cylindrical, for example if this is hydra, so it is called as polyp. So if they have a cylindrical body they are called as polyp, and if they have an umbrella like body they are called as medusa. Now these organisms can be found in marine water also, and few can also be found in fresh water as well. Now these organisms they possess radially symmetry. Now why radial symmetry? Because you can see if you will cut it into half, then you can see there are many different parts which are there. It is not divided into half. That is why it is called as radial symmetry. Now also they are diploblastic. That is, they are made up of two germ layers, that is endoderm and ectoderm. So that is why they are diploblastic. Now you can see there are tentacles which are present here. You can see these tentacles even here also in the jellyfish they have tentacles. So now all these they have tentacles and they have something that is called as nidoblast which is present in the tentacles. So whenever any organism it tries to attack these organisms, so they from this nidoblast they inject a toxin into that particular organism, into their prey, and then in that toxin it is poisonous, so that organism is paralyzed and they can even consume the organism or they even protect they themselves from the other organisms. So they have the nidoblast which have the toxins in them, and these are present on the tentacle. So here in these tentacles they have these nidoblasts. There is small spine like structures, these are called as nidoblasts. So these are present here, and this helps the organism to protect itself from the harm which is coming. And the example is like sea anemone, then we have man of war, or we have jellyfish, we have corals. All of these organisms are considered in the phylum that is Coelenterata, or we can say Cnidaria. Third phylum in non-chordate is platyhelminths. Now, platyhelminths include all the flatworms. So these organisms, they are flat in structure, or you can also say they are leaf-like. So that is why they are called as flatworms. So platyhelminths are also called as flatworms. Now these organisms are present inside the body of the other organism. Inside the body of the host they are present, and that is why they are called as endoparasites. So what do you mean by endo? That is inside the body. So these tapeworm, if you will see, planaria, tape, fever, flu, these organisms are all present inside the body of the organism. So that is why they are called as endoparasites. They are parasites present inside the body. Now also they are bilaterally symmetrical. Now bilaterally is when you divide the body into half, you can find that they will be divided into two equal halves. So that is why they have bilaterally symmetrical body. Now these organisms, they are acoelomate. That is, they don't have the body cavity. So if the body cavity is absent, they are called as acoelomate. If the body cavity is present, they are called as eucoelomate. If it is present and it is a true body cavity. And if the body cavity is present but it is not true, it is just a fake body cavity. So that is why they are called as pseudocoelomate. So according to this, they are acoelomate, that is they don't have the body cavity. When you cut this organism into half, the three layers which are present in us, that is endoderm, ectoderm and mesoderm, so inside there is a small cavity, so they don't have any cavity, and that is why they are called as acoelomate. They are triploblastic, that is they have all the three layers. They have ectoderm, they have endoderm, and they also have the mesoderm. They have all the three germ layers, so that is why they are triploblastic. And also these organisms are hermaphrodite, that is male and female reproductive system are present in the same organism. So in this tapeworm there will be male also and there will be female reproductive organ also. So that is why they are called as hermaphrodite. So they are called as a flatworm. They are free living, but they are endoparasites and they are acoelomate, bilaterally symmetrical. They have a triploblastic body and these organisms are hermaphrodite. Example is liver fluke, tapeworm, planaria, etc. and etc. All these organisms can be present inside the body and few can also be present outside the body. So they are called as the free living organisms. Phylum number 4 is Ascomynthus. Now these Ascomynthus includes all the organisms that are worm but they are round in structure, that is they are called as roundworm. They have a thread-like body. Now these organisms can be free living or they can be endoparasite also. If you will see in small children, small white worms are found in their intestine and these small worms are called as ascarises. So as these organisms live inside the body, they are called as endoparasites, but few can be free living and they can be aquatic or terrestrial both. Then they have a triploblastic and pseudocoelomate body. Now what is triploblastic? That is they have all the three layers. They have ectoderm, they have endoderm and they have mesoderm. Inside our body there are various layers in from which our body is formed. So there the germ layers which are present. So they have all the three germ layers. So that is why they are triploblastic. They are pseudocoelomate. That is they do not have a proper body cavity. They have a fake body cavity and that is why they are called as pseudocoelomate. Now in this three germ layers, that is endoderm, ectoderm and mesoderm, inside there is a small tiny hole structure which is present, that is called as a body cavity, which is called as coelom. So here it has the body cavity but it is not true. Then they have a non-segmented body and it is covered with a cuticle. Now cuticle is a very tough covering so that they are, as in our stomach we have acid, so these acid should not dissolve these organisms, so that is why they have this tough cuticle, because they have to survive in the acidic environment of the stomach and the intestine. So that is why they have a tough cuticle body and they have non-segment. If you will see in worms there are small linings which are present, so that is called as segments, but in these organisms there are no the segments which are present. In earthworm there are some small lines which are present, but here they don't have any lines. And also they are unisexual, that is the female will be different and the male will be different, that is why they are unisexual. Next phylum, that is fifth phylum, is Annelida. Now Annelida include earthworm, leech, nares, etc. Now these organisms, they have a long body, they have a cylindrical body and they also have metamerically segmented body, that is equal amounts of segments which are present. If you will see the earthworm, so you will see that they have small segments which are there, small lines which are present in their body, so that is they are called as metamerically segmented body. Now, out of this, few are the animals which are free and others are ectoparasite. Now, what do you mean by ectoparasite? That is, they live outside the body. When they live inside the body, that is they are surviving in the intestine or any other part of the body inside, so they are called as endoparasite. But when they survive outside the body, that is they can be attached to the any animal's body from outside, from cow, even humans also, they will get attached to the legs and all, so they are called as the ectoparasites, that they are attacking the animal from outside. Now they can be free living also, they can survive in oceans, that is they can survive in marine, in saline water also, they can survive in fresh water also, and they can also survive in the terrestrial, that is on the land as well. Now they are triploblastic. As we know, triploblastic, that means all the three layers are present. Ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm is present. They are bilaterally symmetrical, that is when you will divide the organism into half, you will find two different parts are there, you will get two equal parts, that is why they have a bilateral symmetry and they are eucoelomate. Now, eucoelomate means that they have the true cavity which is there in our body. In between all the three layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, there is the cavity which should be present, the coelom which should be there, it is present. Now, they can either have setae or parapodia or suckers for locomotion. Now, these are the type of structures which are there in the animal's body. So they can either have, like if you see nares, they have small, small, tiny structures, extending structures. So they are called as the parapodia. In nares, the parapodias are present. Then you can see, if you will see leech, so leech have a sucks the body, sucks the environment which is there, sucks the ground and it moves. So that is why they have suckers. And if they don't have this thing, they usually just crawl. So they have these small setae like structures which are there in their body, which helps them to locomote. So they have setae, they have parapodia, or they can have suckers. Now, body is again covered with a strong cuticle, which is a hard substance, and these animals can be hermaphrodite or they can be unisexual. If you will see earthworm, so earthworm is hermaphrodite, male and female is present in the same animal. And if you will see other animals, so they are unisexual. So they can include both hermaphrodite also and unisexual also. So this is about the phylum Annelida. It is very simple that they usually you have to remember 3 to 4 points. So you can remember that it has metamerically segmented body. They are ectoderm, few can be free living as well, and also they have triploblastic bilateral symmetry. They have eucoelomate. They have locomotory organs like they can have setae, parapodia or suckers, or they also have a thick covering on their body, that is the cuticle. And if you say reproduction or how these animals are, so these animals are hermaphrodite, male and female present in the same organism, and they are unisexual.